guys, I'm coming to you today to talk to you about something I call swishing. Other people call it oil pulling, but I call it swishing because I've kind of got my own little recipe going and my own little thing. Every morning when I wake up, I go to the bathroom and I start doing my morning ablutions, and it takes me about 15-20 minutes, not like the Navy showers I grew up with, but I'm getting old, slowing down a bit. But during that 15 to 20 minutes, I am swishing, right? I'm doing what some people call oil pulling. And I want to show you my recipe, and then I want to explain some of the whys and wherefores. So in my mouth swishing, I used to have this complicated recipe where you use coconut oil in a double boiler, warm it up and cool it down. And then I discovered that you can use MCT oil. That's medium chain triglyceride oil. And what I do is this is a 16-ounce bottle. So what I've done is I got this brand new, I opened it up, I poured about 4 ounces into a glass jar to save for later. Um, you can use your MCT oil for a lot of wonderful things, but I made this one into my mouth swish oil. So what I did is I poured out 4 ounces, and then I took about, well, let's see, I took several drops of wintergreen oil. This is an essential oil. Now, some of you guys are dealers of different brands of oils, and that's fine. I just happen to choose Now brand, brand I'm familiar with, been using for years. So I use wintergreen oil, and I put about 15 to 20 drops in that bottle that I've poured out 4 ounces. So I've got 8 ounces left in this bottle, and I put about 15 drops of wintergreen oil or some other aromatic oil that I really love. And then I put 15 to 20 drops of clove oil in it. And I'm kind of a all in or not in at all person. So actually, technically, I use about 30 drops because I like heavy clove. And clove is just so good for the gums and for tooth repair. We'll cover that a little more in a couple minutes. So that's clove oil, the essential oil of clove. And then I finished filling the bottle up with, ta-da, tincture of black walnut, which is very expensive. So I make my own. I make half-gallon jars at a time. And this is because I give it away to different people and my grandkids and my kids and whoever. So I make my own tincture of black walnut, and I do that by buying some black walnut on Amazon, some black walnut hulls. And then I fill this jar about 2/3 full of hulls, and then I top it off with vodka. Some of you guys are going to like that, but that's technically how you make a tincture. And then you shake the jar every day for at least 2 weeks. And I like to get, well, what I've done with this is I've poured off some to make my oil swish, and then I leave it in the jar and I just shake it once in a while. And this jar will probably last me and the people I give it to 8 months, 12 months. And the longer it sits, the stronger it gets, and that's actually a good thing. So I finished filling the bottle up with tincture of black walnut. Now every morning I get up, I shake it up good, pop it open, and I put about a tablespoon directly into my mouth. And then I start swishing. And I swish for 15, 20 minutes. And then I always spit it into the trash can, because if you spit too much of this down your drain, it's going to clog it up. And unless you're married to a plumber or really like cleaning out drains, don't do it. Just spit it into a trash can with a liner with some paper towels to kind of help collect it. And that way it doesn't plug up my drain. So that's my oil swish recipe. And then when I spit it out, I brush my teeth. And I always use like a good abrasive. This is Redmond Clay earth paste. There's several flavors. This is very important. This is fluoride free. This has no glycerin because your teeth are living bone. And when you get the glycerin based toothpaste and you polish your teeth up with all that glycerin, they're living bone. They quit breathing or they choke up and they have trouble re-enamelizing and bringing nutrients to the surface of the tooth. Right? So there's a pink Himalayan salt, which is pretty darn good stuff. And I like to alternate. So I'll use one tube of Redmond clay, and then I'll use a tube of pink Himalayan salt. Or what I also like to do from time to time is I like to use some good old baking soda, which is abrasive. But that's a good thing because as you abrade your teeth, you actually allow them to re-enamelize. So it's important that you have just a little bit of abrasive action going. You don't want to sand your teeth down, but you want to keep the flow of nutrients and the flow of calcium coming to the surface of your teeth, right? So that's my tincture recipe, and that's my oil swish recipe. And I want to talk a little bit about breath, all right? Because this is the sweet end of a 20 to 24 foot long intestinal tract. So this is the sweet end, right? So all through this intestinal tract, your body is processing food, fermenting food, pulling nutrients out, and then the end product is eliminated. And we don't really like to talk about our eliminations, but if you have a sewer pipe smell in your mouth or what comes out at the other end, your health is in trouble, right? So things should be normal. If you have sewer pipe breath, you either have A, bad teeth, or B, you have bad intestinal flora, which helps cause the bad teeth, and it all works together. Bad teeth help feed the intestinal flora bad things. So one thing I do, like every day, is I make homemade yogurt, and I use raw milk. I buy this awesome starter stuff, Bulgaris. It just makes um, the most amazing stuff you could ever eat. And then I'll eat some yogurt, and I'll also take a Primadophilus reuteri. Primadophilus, if you think prima, it's like the beginnings. This is what the infant needs in their gut to help build a healthy intestinal tract. In fact, I put colicky babies on this. And mommies who have trouble with gassy babies, fussy babies, quite often they need Primadophilus reuteri. Primadophilus reuteri. And this is infants. This is like a newborn. You can open a capsule, dip your finger in it, rub it on their teeth and gums, and you help get their system started, especially if you're not breastfeeding. If you're breastfeeding and you're taking this, your baby should get plenty, but if they're colicky, gassy, burpy, fussy, try some of this. But I take this every day, reuteri, and it's Primadophilus, and I take it with my yogurt, which helps feed the bacteria. Plus, it has its own set of bacteria that makes yogurt. And then if you're eating a banana or some fresh raw veggies, then you're actually taking in prebiotics, which are also very helpful, very helpful, very helpful to maintain your health. And remember that your health is a spectrum. So your health goes from really, 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 really healthy to diseases showing up and you're sick. And where are you in the middle of that spectrum? Are you really, really healthy, or are you just one step away from being really sick? Right? So health is a spectrum. If you have sewer pipe breath, you've got a problem. But if you're mouth swishing, all these medium chain triglycerides, these essential oils, they're helping to maintain health in your mouth, in your buccal mucosa. Okay, and it's helping to clean and heal your teeth. Clove oil is very awesome for gums. If you have receding gums, you should really be doing this. Right? If you have bone loss, then maybe you should consider adding some other things to it, and we can discuss that on another time, or you can privately message me. But keep in mind, the lining of the mouth is also epithelial cells. Epithelial, it's like skin. Your skin is the epithelium. Any part of your body that comes in contact with the outside world, like your lungs, your gut, the lining of your gut, that has epithelial cells. Majority of those cells will be epithelial. So I also take every day, I'm either juicing and or I'm taking some beta carotene, right? So this is beta carotene. This helps your epithelial cells have strength. It's especially important for fighting viruses, right? During the COVID-19 thing, we all want to fight viruses. We need vitamin A and lots of it to help infuse strength into the cells and the cell lining. So one thing you don't want to do, when let's back up a minute to toothpaste, is you want to throw away, actually, it's a hazardous material, so I don't know about throwing it away, but all your fluoride toothpaste, those things are nasty. When you have fluoride in your drinking water, that's not what your body uses to build strong teeth and strong bone. Your body uses calcium fluoride, and what they put in your water, what they put in your dentifrices, is a sodium fluoride. And I talk about that quite a bit through the years in my blogs and posts. I also talk about it in Fixing the Brain Book 2, which I put out earlier this year, because fluoride, the sodium fluoride, the fluorosalicylic acid, is actually a neurological agent and affects how the brain works. So I talk about that. I actually talk about triglycerides and fat and diet and gut health and things in this book too. It's well worth your time to buy this. Even if you're not worried about fixing the brain, it can teach you a few things. So that's one of my books available right now. And my story hasn't always been this good. I haven't seen a dentist in 10 years. When I did, it's because I was referring patients to this wonderful dentist friend of mine down in the Phoenix area. And he said, well, just come on in. We want to clean your teeth. I want to look. Yeah, well, we'll give you x-rays and all that. I don't recommend a whole bunch of x-rays, but he looked at my teeth and he's going like, wow, these are great. Well, what he didn't know at the time was my backstory, because I had a naval dentist went absolutely nuts on my teeth several decades ago, and all of a sudden I had 17 mercury amalgam fillings, which I finally wised up to. I got rid of them in about 1999, 2000. I had mine removed. There's special ways to remove it, so if you have questions about that, you can get with me. You can go on one of my websites and do a search and find amalgams, mercury amalgams, and I will walk you through how to get rid of your mercury amalgams. So I got rid of all those, and I started doing swishing. I started brushing with healthy toothpaste. I started switching water. Let's say when I get done here in Blaine, Washington, they put just a little chlorine in the water, the minimum that the state requires. So I filter it through a carbon filter, and I have this little carbon filter pitcher next to my bathroom sink. And when I'm through brushing my teeth and rinsing and spit the water out from the tap, then I take a big old mouthful of good filtered water and I swish that to help clean my mouth and get rid of the other stuff. So I avoid the chlorines, the fluorines, which is just a good thing to do for your healthy body and to keep your health spectrum on the upper end. So I haven't been to a dentist in 10 years. I don't have toothaches. In fact, when I run out of mouth swish, and I haven't made it, like between the batches here, I ran out, it was about 2 weeks. And I'm going, every morning I'm going like, man, I need to make some more mouth swish. I can tell when I'm not using it. And you should be able to tell within minutes, hours, or days, depending on the health of your mouth. And if you have other gum disease, periodontal diseases, stuff like that, that's another topic for discussion. If you've got gingivitis starting, and I've had cases where they were fixing to have their teeth pulled, and I start them on a regimen of using the baking soda and hydrogen peroxide every day when they brush, and the gingivitis goes away. And they save their teeth and they start mouth swishing, their whole health spectrum comes out. So that's my little blurb on swishing. If you want to call it oil pulling, I don't care. I just prefer to call it swishing for some reason. At any rate, God bless, and we'll see you soon.